What's up, you guys? So for today's video, we are back with JC from Wrong Too Strong. How's it going, bro?
Yeah, still here.
Still here?
Yep.
Still hanging on? Today, we're going to be talking about Mexican prison versus American prison. We did talk about it a little bit in our previous interviews with JC, and I will link those down below, as well as his channel, so make sure you go subscribe to him. So why don't we start with why you went to a Mexican prison? What were the charges? I
got caught smuggling drugs over state lines. Pretty much the same charge that would happen here. The only difference over there is it's a minimum of 10 years. I ended up getting 15 years because I thought I would try to fight it. I should have just signed, but it really didn't matter because once I got transferred over to the United States, there's an American exchange program. Once I got transferred over to the United States, so for every 1 day that you do in Mexico, it's counted for 2 days in the United States. Plus, when I got to the American federal system, they started showing us movies about like Vietnam vets. They didn't call it PTSD back then. I forgot what the term was, but they figured through all the violence and all the stuff, you know, this is like the 90s, late 90s, that we were pretty messed up. And yeah, there was a lot of Americans that were on that plane. I mean, I'll never forget, I looked back and I seen all the Americans on the jet, and some of them looked pretty fucked up. Like, you could tell, you know, their facial expressions or how they looked pretty bad.
Coming from a Mexican prison?
Yeah, okay. Coming, you know, back to the United States. So when we sat in the room and they started showing us these movies, you know, my criminal thinking kicked in right away, and I, you know, raised up my hand, and the counselor came out. It was a psychiatrist and a counselor came out, and they were like, you know, step into the office, you know, talk, whatever. So I told them my story. I told them what happened over there. I ended up getting some time off my sentence for pain and suffering. So, you know, I was released, I think a week later after being transferred. I can't remember the exact time frame, but I got released pretty fast after it hit the United States, but I got picked up at the door for other charges. So it was a blessing in disguise, I guess you could say, but then I had to get transferred to Illinois, and that's like another story because I was at the El Paso County Jail. And I was there for, I say, about a month, a little bit over a month. So, how much time did you serve in a Mexican prison? I was there for 4 years. 4 years? Yes. What is a day like in a Mexican prison? Typical day. It's not structured like in the United States. You pretty much do the same routine every day. You do the same thing. I mean, you pretty much know when shit's gonna kick off, you know, if there's gonna be a riot or if there's gonna be somebody getting, you know, dealt with at the yard. Like, you know this. In the Mexican prison, it's just kind of, I guess, winging your time. So you kind of like wake up, everybody's up really early. The environment was very, very different because obviously it's like you're living in a little town. I always tell people, because they always ask me, hey, so how can you describe Mexican prison? I always tell them, hey, have you ever watched Get the Gringo with Mel Gibson? And they're like, yeah, I've seen that movie. I'm like, that's the way the Mexican prison was. Really? It's a town inside of a town. Yeah. And so people wake up early, music's blasting, you know, the cleaning, you know, cleaning the floor with water. I don't know if that's a Mexican thing, but all the Mexican ladies back home do that. They throw water on the floor, they sweep. That's not how we do it. And so, I mean, that's how you wake up, but stuff happens so crazy over there because there's like so many drugs and so much thirst for power that sometimes shit would just happen like out of like nowhere, pretty much. So who runs Mexican prisons? It's all, you know, so where I was at, there was 8 units, and every unit was a different state of Mexico. And this is back in the day, like I tell people, this is back in the day before they called it the cartel. Back in the day, there were just a bunch of families from every state that worked together, made money together, and everybody worked together before they started trying to kill each other. So I was in Section 8 where all the Michoacanos were at, but there was like different states, and every state had a speaker, a shot caller.
So when you say every state, it would be like in America, it would be like barracks, different
Illinois,
barracks.
California,
Okay.
Indiana, Texas, like that.
Oh.
Big, the whole state itself. And every state had a shot
I see what you're
caller.
saying. Okay.
And that's how it was ran. Like, there was, that person decide what happened and everything.
So in a Mexican prison, there are people from different areas. And you're saying the head guy decides for everyone. Okay.
Yep. And since
I'm dumb.
Since over there everybody's put together, over there's not like, there is state prison, there is federal prison, but that's for like the real big guys. It's called Ceferezo. It's like in the, where they had El Chapo and stuff like that. But state prison over there, since, there's so much drugs, there's a lot of drug charges, there's people from all over Mexico in there. And you have everybody together, rapists, murderers, child molesters, everything together. They don't separate nobody. You have people waiting for sentencing, people that are sentenced. It's just a fucking shit house.
Do you have individual cells?
If you have money.
Really?
Yeah.
So what does it look like if you have no money?
If you have no money, you're going to be struggling really bad. I mean, you'll probably be living in a cell with like 7-8 guys. You'll probably be eating the really shitty food. It's pretty bad. Like, if you don't have money, you're going to struggle a lot. So you pretty much pick up a hustle, or you're not going to make it. And everybody hustles in there, like wooden flowers, anything that you could sell, that you could make. Wooden boats. I used to work on wooden frames. Like I would put posters on frames and frame them up and send them to the United States.
And you got paid for that?
Yeah.
So I know that your people were taking care of you when you went to prison because you were trafficking drugs for the family. So when you went to prison, they were putting a lot of money on your books.
Yes.
You said $1,000 a month?
Yes, they were taking care of me.
Talk to me about what your cell looked like in prison at that time.
Well, I mean, I was what you would call a baller of my salon. I had carpet. I still remember to this day, I had green carpet, shaggy carpet. I had my bed made in the wooden shop, so I had a really big king-size bed.
King size bed?
Yes.
Bro. Oh my God. Okay, continue.
I had my own cell. I paid $300 for my cell. I had my cell painted lime green with little specks of paint. I thought it looked cool. I don't know why, but at the time I was doing a lot of drugs.
Lime green, yeah.
So, I had I had a gas stove. Not gas, propane. So, I mean, my cell looked really nice because I purchased everything. Obviously, I had money. And I had a big screen TV. At one point, I had a stereo system. I had a Nintendo for a while. And
So you had a hotel room in a Mexican prison?
Pretty much.
Yeah. You just couldn't leave?
I just couldn't leave. But, I didn't want to leave sometimes.
Yeah.
It was pretty interesting. I mean, one of my oldest daughters was actually made in the Mexican prison.
Okay. I feel like you need to tell us every single freaking detail of that now. Like, what you mean the baby was made in the Mexican prison?
So, in Mexico, the men's prison's on the outside and then the women's prison is in the middle. So...
My mind is blown. Like...
Where I was at in San Luis, Thursdays and Sundays were visiting days. So that day I would go to like the woman's side. I would wait in front, all dressed up, showered up, smelling good. And I would pick up my girlfriend and take her to my cell and we would conjugate. Is that how you say it?
Conjugal visits?
Conjugate all day?
No. Conjugal visits?
Conjugal visits.
See?
And we would just lock ourselves in the room all day.
And that's completely normal?
Yeah.
Everyone's doing that?
Yeah.
And they just allow that to happen?
So the thing in Mexican prisons is that they want you to keep your family.
Oh.
Like they
Big on
want
family
you.
there.
Yeah, they're really big on family. So on visiting days, like the kids come in, the wives come in, and everybody's like together. There's like music, they're dancing. It's like a completely different day. Like we go from, it's so funny because like you go from one day like killing, stabbing people, doing drugs, to the next day it's like family day.
Making dinner for your kids.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy shit. That's insane. Because you hear that and it's like, you would never see that in American prison. You would never see that. Even when your family comes to see you in prisons here, you can get sent home if you wear the wrong shirt, if you wear the wrong shoes. The guards will tell you, oh, I'm sorry, I know you drove for hours to see your husband. You can't come in. Or you can go buy a shirt, and if you don't get back in time, they won't let you back in.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to see your family in American prison. Dang.
Well, I think the biggest thing like in American prisons is that they're actually trying to break you.
Yeah.
I mean, mentally, in every way possible. I mean, you know, if it wouldn't be for like guys in the American prisons working out as much as they do, I think that a lot of them would pretty much go crazy. I mean, that's why like there was a lot of things in the Mexican prison that I actually respected a lot, because like the government wants you to like keep your family intact even though you're doing time.
Right.
So like when the families come in like that, and the amount of respect that's shown that day like from other inmates, like if you were to like look at another guy's wife on a visiting day, like that shit would get out so fast. And as soon as the visit would close, that guy would be done.
I mean, it's kind of the same here. It's called reckless eyeballing. And you can't, if you're in the visiting floor, you can't look at someone else's wife. It's the same, but we're not having conjugal visits in our cell every weekend, boy.
Yeah, it was from 6 in the morning to 6 p.m.
Dang. So I feel like that's really extreme to us. Like, we've never heard prison explained that way before. I've never heard another story on YouTube about a Mexican prison, like, with all the shit you've experienced. So I'm just blown away by your story. Just to transition here a little bit, can we talk about the violence that goes on in Mexican prison?
Well, the violence is really, really big because, for one, I don't know what it is, but I kind of felt like it's just a little bit more savage over there because of, for one, there's more weapons over there. I mean, they had fucking guns inside the prison.
Stop.
So
you could just walk up to someone in prison and shoot someone.
Well, not like that, because like it would get really, really hot. But they had them there for like last resort.
Okay.
You know, and I'll never forget. Like there was one time where they ran completely out of drugs inside the prison. There was nothing. No weed, no pills, no coke.
So running out is uncommon.
Yes. And the riot like just kicked off. People were like getting stabbed. It was like going crazy. Everybody was going crazy. Literally, the guards ran in with the drugs to like drop them off to the cellars to calm everybody down.
Oh my God.
And you know, it's. I mean, child molesters didn't stand a chance because, like, it's almost like, so they would show them on the newspaper the night before, and then, like, the guys would be already waiting for them at the door when they were coming in. So they would show them on the newspapers, and actually, like, they would be waiting for them at the door. There was this one guy, I'll never forget. They had him on the newspaper. He had raped a little girl, and everybody was waiting for him at the door when he came in, and literally by the time he got out of the unit, he was like covered in blood. He had a whole broom stuck up his ass. Like it didn't even look real, because you know the sweeping part is probably about that big.
Yeah.
That was the only part that was like sticking out.
How?
That's what I said, because it looked like a cartoon.
I mean, they must have broke it.
I don't know.
I'm not like a doctor or anything.
I don't know, but I mean, I still remember to this day that he was trying to put his arms down on the floor, and he couldn't because his bones were like completely broke. Like they looked like jello. They were hitting him with pipes.
Yeah.
It was pretty intense, and I could see how seeing stuff like that could really fuck you up. Like, you know, there's times that I still like hear certain things, stuff like that, but I could see how long term it could really mess you up seeing a lot of violence like that every day. And it was very, very common in there. It was normal. I think that's why when I hit American prisons, I was kind of numb to it already. So when we would like see guys get stabbed on the yard, it was kind of like nonchalant, like kind of like, you know,
Yeah, and here the cops will run in and break it apart, pepper spray you, or shoot you with rubber bullets if they have to, and take you to the doctor or the infirmary, and it's completely different. Would guards over there step in or help?
Not really. I mean, when I got stabbed, I had another inmate help me, walk me over to the infirmary, and then once they patched me up and stuff, they came in and asked me what happened, but I mean, it was the fucking next day. It's like, you know, so it's like.
So they stitched you up at least, right?
Well, not technically. I got stabbed by the doctor. Because he had to stick the tube in my lung really fast before.
Right. I've heard you tell that story.
Before my lung collapsed. So I got stabbed by 2 people. I got stabbed by the inmate and by the doctor.
Did they give you medicine before they stabbed you?
No.
Oh, okay.
He just laid me down. It was like an emergency like procedure. So
yeah.
And then the next day the guards came in and asked me what happened. But I mean, I was already like.
It's over.
It was over. Like,
where did you get stabbed?
On my back. On my right side. At first I thought he had just punched me, but then when I started losing my breath and I couldn't breathe, and I felt like contractions in my core, my abs, and it started to hurt really, really bad.
Yeah.
Then I couldn't catch my breath, and that's when they took my shoes. If you've seen my story.
I watch your stuff sometimes.
So they took my shoes.
So where did you do time here?
I've been to state prison in Illinois. I've been to state prison in El Paso. I've been to state prison in Arizona. And I've been to federal prison in El Paso, California, Oklahoma, Arizona, Florida, and Atlanta.
Dang. So you just made your rounds?
Yeah, I was like on a tour.
I was on a tour. I was on a prison tour. And you're still currently on federal probation?
Yes.
How long have you been out of prison?
I've been out for 3 years now.
I really want to tell everyone what you're doing now. So you speak in prison?
Yes.
Tell us about that. How does that feel to walk into the front door of a prison? I've never seen the front door. I always go through Sally.
I know. Through the bus area.
Yeah.
Well, I work at the Lewis Correctional Prison in Phoenix, Arizona. It's Buckeye, Arizona. And I work there on Fridays. I have a class there. I teach a class. And I teach the inmates how to become personal trainers. And, you know, motivate them with my story and stuff like that. And we have a graduating class twice a month. It's the second chance program. They get inmates ready to come home. And I just motivate the guys. I pretty much give them a second chance at looking, you know, if I could do it, they could do it. So, I mean, it's really, really, I feel like a new man every time I leave there. The first day I walked in, it was very, very emotional for me because I actually, you know, walking into a prison without shackles and chains felt really good. And just the way the COs were treating me and everything, like I felt pretty badass.
Are you sure you can teach people how to be a personal trainer? I mean, you're so small.
Yeah, you know, that's the thing.
So how long have you been working in the prison?
I've been there I technically been there for 6 months, but technically didn't get my assignment about 2 months now.
Well, congratulations.
So I was going there just kind of volunteering my time.
But now you get paid to do that?
No, I don't get paid.
Oh, okay.
I just volunteer.
You volunteer. I just can only imagine how rewarding that must be.
It feels good. It feels good because I get to, you know, share my story with these guys and actually motivate them to. There's a different. If you do different stuff, then, you know, different outcomes happen. And I think that's like something that, you know how in AA they say it's insanity to expect different. You get high, you're going to think, oh, this time it's going to be different. Mm-hmm. No, it's the same shit show that every time you get high.
Yeah.
So that's my story with them. Like,
I mean, I finally understood that all I've been doing is the same shit for so long. Why don't I pour all of my time and energy and focus into something different and see what happens, you know? And I've been sober for 8 years now, and I've got 2 babies, and I'm so proud of that. I haven't bought anything with drug money in a long time.
It feels good, right?
Yeah, you know the cops are gonna break in the house.
And that's the thing is I tell these guys that they just spend half of that energy that they used on the streets, you know, standing on the corner, selling drugs. If they spent just half of that energy actually doing something positive, like, the outcome is like, so like, it's crazy.
You
it's
are
crazy.
so blessed and rewarded if you change your life and you chase after something positive. And I just can't even put that into words, because that is like, I can say that to you, but until you experience it and you feel it yourself, there's just no words to express how grateful I am. And I imagine you're the same way.
I wake up every day, you know, I enjoy what I do. It's very, very rewarding, and you know, it's crazy because you spend so many years living in the dark that you actually believe that that's your life, that's the way you're gonna live for the rest of your life, and no, it doesn't have to be like that at all. Like I sometimes, you know, I actually cry about it because I spent so much time in that dark little, you know, prison, I call it, like in my mind.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now it's like I wake up and I'm like, I get to do everything that I want to do, and it's fucking crazy.
It's fucking crazy. No, your story is so amazing, and I'm so grateful that you took the time and flew all the way from Arizona back to Chicago, a place where it's really difficult for you to film these videos with me. I'm very grateful.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna end today's video here. Please go subscribe to Wrong Too Strong on YouTube. His story is absolutely incredible. I'm so proud of you, and I just can't even speak highly enough of this guy, you guys. I love you guys. Stay safe, stay sober, do not break the law, and I'll see you on my next one.